Cross swords, like do something bodyguardish. Okay, good. All right, good job. All right. All right, the king, leave us, okay. Then Ehud then approached him while he was sitting alone in the upper room at his palace, and he said, I have a message from God for you. As the king rose from his seat, Ehud reached, okay, stand up, each with his left hand and drew the sword from his right thigh, okay, like this, and plunged it into the king's belly. Okay, very good, good job. All right, even the handle sank in after the blade, and here's the cool part, and his bowels discharged, okay? Ew, gross. All right, Ehud did not pull the sword out, and the fat closed in over it, all right? So Ehud, you take your hand back and leave the sword, because, no, leave the sword, yeah, you go, because Rigo's really fat in his butt, like, okay. All right, then Ehud went out to the porch, he shut the doors of the upper room behind him and locked them. All right, so like, you kind of like sneak out the back door and like lock it, okay? No, you got to be dead now. What kind of a king stands up after he's dead? Okay, all right, good. Good job. This is not, all right, we'll work on our acting in a little bit here, but they didn't know this, so. Yeah, okay, even the hand, okay, Ehud did not pull the sword out. Then Ehud went out on the porch, he shut the doors of the upper room and locked them, all right? Verse 24, after he had gone, the servants came and found the doors of the upper room locked. All right, so turn around and like you're locked out. Like pretend like you're locked out. Wait, I'm in the way. Yeah, there you go. Knocking will not help you get in. You're locked out. All right. They said he must be relieving himself in the upper room of the palace. Like that, okay, when he got stabbed, his bowels discharged, so it smells like he's in the bathroom, right? Okay, hey, I'm just saying, we're going to come back to it. It's an important point. All right, they waited to the point of embarrassment. Like you've been there, right? Hey, get out of the bathroom. Like, come back in a half hour. All right, we'll be back later. Get out of the bathroom. Okay, I grew up in a house of 6. 6 kids, mom and dad. It happened all the time. 2 bathrooms, not good. All right, so they waited to the point of embarrassment, but when he did not open the doors of the room, they took a key and unlocked them. Okay, finally they decided they're going to unlock the door. Very smart men. All right. Then they saw their Lord fallen on the floor dead. So you walk in amazement and like you're astonished that, yes, good. Good job, Steve. Nice. All right. While they waited, Ehud got away. Come over here, you got to get away. He passed by the stone images and escaped to Seirah. When he arrived, he blew a trumpet in the hill country of Ephraim. All right, this is your trumpet. Oh, okay, then you do it and I'll whistle. Good job. All right. All right, so they took a key and unlocked it, blew a trumpet in the hill country of Ephraim, and the Israelites went down with him from the hills with him leading. All right, now you need this. Okay, good. All right. All right, Ehud, you got to come out of the hill country, because remember the Israelites had conquered the whole hill country, but it was the plains that they didn't conquer. Remember that from last week? Okay. So then he said, follow me, he ordered, for the Lord has given Moab, your enemy, into your hands. So they followed him down and took possession of the fords of the Jordan that led to Moab. They allowed no one to cross over. At that time, they struck down about 10,000 Moabites. Strike down the 10,000 Moabites. Nice. Wait, you have a sword. What happened to your dagger? Oh, it's in the Fat King. I forgot. Okay. All right, Moabites, you're dead. You die, Moabites. Okay, good. All right, they struck down 10,000 Moabites, and that day Moab was made subject to Israel, and the land had peace for 80 years. 80 years of peace after Ehud conquers. All right, good job, guys. Thank you. Give them a hand. Can you throw those in my prop box over there? Excellent. Prop box. Very good. All right. Man, that was good acting. I'm super impressed. Okay, cool. All right, so I feel like that's an awesome story. Like some of you might feel like it's a little grotesque, but I feel like it's an awesome story. Even more so the fact that like we know that David and Goliath with the stone and he slays Goliath, but we don't know that this is how God delivers Israel too. In fact, this story, a lot of people don't really like to talk about this story. Like we'll talk about like how the sword or the dagger was like the sword of the Spirit, and we as Christians, like let's just take it for what it is. That God delivers Israel using a left-handed warrior who kills a fat king, and now Israel has peace for 80 years. So let's talk about that, because I think that is an awesome storyline. That is what we have. So how does God do that? Now, first thing on your notes, real quick. The first lesson we can learn from a left-handed warrior and a fat king. Ready? Prayer is a weapon, not a last resort. Prayer is a weapon, not a last resort. Now, I realize that Israel, as we go through Judges, uses prayer as a last resort quite often. They're crying out to God in the beginning of the story, save us, After years and years and years of being subject to King Eglon, they're finally crying out. But let's not be like Israel. Let's realize that for us as warriors, prayer is meant to be a weapon in the hands of a mighty warrior, not a last resort. Not a last resort at all. Because sometimes the best fighting is done. Sometimes the battles are won with your eyes closed and your head bowed and you're on your knees. A lot of times that's where those battles are won. As a kid, let me just tell you a little bit about my story. As a kid, I was fine. As a teenager, I was not fine, okay? So junior high, high school, were bad. Let me just say, I turned away from the Lord. I don't even know. I say that I accepted Christ at the age of 18 because I can't say I turned away from the Lord. I never really lived for the Lord until I was 18 years old. All through junior high and high school, I served myself. I did what was right in my own eyes. All right, and if you can just use your imaginations with that one. All right, I turned to everything else, all my talents, all my gifts, all my abilities, and I lived for those things. And that's what I was after. I was fine with those. I was trying to find joy, peace, happiness in those things, in athletics, in dating, in experiments with drugs and with alcohol. Like, I lived for that. That's what I lived for, junior high and high school. I come from a Christian family, and my mom and dad, both saved, both have gone to church our whole lives. All my younger brothers and sisters, up to as far as we know, have accepted Christ. And I'm the oldest of 6, and I'm the rebel at this point. All right? I share that just to say this. I'm standing here today in front of you because of the prayers of a warrior and the great grace and mercy of a mighty God. But I firmly believe that it was the prayers of my dad. See, we've had conversations the past 10 years, and he shared with me over and over again that every single day, without fail, without missing, he prayed for me during those years, that I was doing my own thing, living my own life, going my own way. The days that we fought, he prayed for me. The days that I didn't come home, he prayed for me. The nights that I never showed up, he prayed for me. Every year, for probably 5, 6, 7, 8 years. I don't even know the time frame. Every single day. And I firmly believe that it's the prayers of a warrior on the offensive, not a defeated father, that is the reason that I've accepted Christ, that I'm saved. Yes, God is mighty, He's gracious, He's a merciful God, and He did a work in my heart, but it's the prayers of a warrior too. Don't ever forget that your prayers change things. See, God was fine to leave Israel in slavery, and they cried out, and God said, okay, here's a deliverer. Here's a warrior that will save you from a fat king. Prayer is a weapon, not a duty. It's not something that we have to do. It's something that we get to do. It's something that we get to fight with. It's one of the weapons that we must fight with, that we must continue to use. It's a mighty weapon in the hand of a warrior. Ephesians 6:12 says this, "For our battle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world, against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms." Philippians 4, 6, and 7, briefly, prayer relieves anxiety and brings peace. James 5:16, prayer is powerful and effective. Ephesians 6:18, prayer is for all circumstances and for all saints. Ephesians 6:19-20, prayer conquers fear and propels the gospel forward. It's an offensive attack. It's a weapon. In John 1:9, prayers of confession bring forgiveness and righteousness and cleanliness. It's a weapon that we use as warriors to move forward, to move our personal lives forward, to move our families forward, to move our kids forward, to move the gospel forward. It is used in advance, not in retreat. And even in that, I understand that, and I've been to the place where all you can do is pray. You feel like no job, marriage is rough, kids are crazy. I was one of those crazy kids.